Heavyweight boxing fans, what's the deal? Wait till a few of y'all show up. Ronald Finkley was good, man. Wait till a few of y'all show up in here. Talk about some heavyweight stuff. Joseph Parker. A few other things. David Madgard was good. Pop Player, what's up? Mike Wilkins. James Coleman was good. Danny Tanner. Irvin Hendry was good. Yeah, man. So we'll talk about some Joseph Parker, but before I get to that, man, I was watching a throwback fight. You guys know I love my throwback fights, man. But I was watching I watched Mercer versus Holmes again. I watched that fight quite a few times, but man, Mercer got tricked. He got tricked in that one, man. He thought the old man was gonna be sweet. He thought it was gonna be sweet, man. He had that WBO strap, and I know back in '91 that WBO strap was not it was not it was not looked at as the real title. You know what I mean? We know that back then the criteria was different. You needed the IBF, the WBA, and WBC title, to be recognized as the world champion. And if you had all three of them, to be looked at as undisputed. Uh, but Mercer, he won the title against Francisco Damiani. Uh, Before that fight with Damiani, I believe he fought Burt Cooper. That was another really good fight. I believe Mercer got his jaw broken that fight. I think he got his jaw broken after the Damiani fight. He was actually losing, and then he actually broke Damiani's nose with it was like a uppercut, like a left uppercut, almost a hook type of punch. It was like a weird angle. Caught him right on the bridge, like right on the tip of his nose, and broke his nose, man. And Damiani went down face first, did not want to get back up. Um, and it was funny because Ray Mercer he was proud of that WBO belt when he won it. I remember him saying that he's gonna make people respect the WBO belt, and he went in there and beat the hell. Well, actually, I thought Morrison was beating him them first few rounds, man, and then seemed like Morrison started to gas a little bit around about round three. Looked like he was pretty much tired after that, man. And then Morrison, well, even in the fourth round, Morrison, like half that round, Morrison was giving him the business a little bit. And then Mercer started to land heavy shots. They started to go toe to toe. That's one thing about those guys. You did not have to go looking for them. Although Morrison did resort to sticking and moving when he fought Big George. But for the most part, Morrison was a guy that you did not have to go in there looking for. And we know Ray Mercer wasn't. But then we know what happened in that fifth round. Them was it 16 or 17 unanswered punches. Just one of the most brutal knockouts you'll ever see. If you go look at Mercer's career, man, some of his wins, his knockouts against guys, a lot of guys were getting trapped against the ropes against him. Like he'll hit guys with some good shots, and he had a lot of the way he knocked out Morrison. He had a lot of guys in those same positions where they were getting like trapped on the ropes with their arm caught on the top rope and hanging over. That is a very bad spot to be in as a professional fighter, man. Being trapped on ropes, especially with a guy who's just vicious and ruthless and doesn't give a damn if you're unconscious. If you're still standing slash your arm is caught, you're not really standing. You're just kind of stuck. He'll still try to finish you. Mercer was a vicious finisher, man. That's one thing I can give him. He was a vicious finisher. I forgot there was one guy he stopped where the dude was trapped on the ropes. Damn, I forget now, man. It was later on in his career. It's when he had the low haircut. I ain't talking about the box fade Mercer. I'm talking about the low haircut Ray. And he hit dude with like a right hook. And he kind of, when he hit him with the right hook, he kind of paused. And after the hook landed, it was like the uppercut. He kind of just posed a little bit, like he knew he knocked the dude unconscious, and the dude like went right through the ropes, man. It was just nasty. But anyway, so after the Morrison fight, he calls out Tyson and Holyfield. I believe during the week of that Morrison fight, or the week before, or maybe the week of, I forget exactly, but that's when Tyson suffered the rib injury, and him and Holyfield didn't fight for Holyfield's undisputed crown. And I I know Mercer, he really wanted the Tyson fight. He actually used to come to the ring, kind of taking Tyson's style a little bit as far as coming to the ring with the cut off white towel and stuff like that. And but anyways, he wanted to fight Holyfield, Tyson, and then he was calling out Foreman and Larry Holmes at that time. And so he has a WBO strap. And after he beats Morrison, instead of defending that WBO strap against its number one contender, which was Michael Moore, um, he didn't want to do that. So he wanted to fight, get a money fight. I think he got like $1 million to fight Larry Holmes. You know what I mean? So in his mind, he's like, you know what? Let me go ahead, clean up the old champ, because Larry Holmes had came back, and Holmes, after the Tyson defeat, he had took what, like 3 years off or something like that, 4 years off or something. And then when he came back, he had about 6 fights less than a year before he fought Mercer. I believe he had like 6 fights. Maybe Mercer was his sixth fight, but he had like 6 fights in like 8 months when he came back. So he was active. And Mercer was going after that name and that check. You know what I mean? So, but he got tricked, man. And what I mean by that is he got tricked into thinking it was going to be. All right, how you connect? Can y'all hear me? Let me know if y'all can hear me, man. Is the stream back on? Let me know if y'all can hear me. We're back. Can y'all hear me? All right, bet. All right, so I don't know where this stream dropped me. Did it drop me when I said Holmes' legs did a little dance after he got hit with a jab from Mercer? Mercer was tricked. Yeah, all right, so he was tricked, man, because he thought it was going to be sweet fighting the old man. The old man came back after 3 or 4 years of sitting out. He had some fight against journeyman level guys. And anyways, that first round, man, he comes out, he lands a good jab on Holmes. Holmes' legs kind of does a little dance, but he just got wobbled a little bit, and Holmes was teeing off on Mercer, and he actually gave Ray what he wanted. Ray wants you to stand right in front, as Ray put it. I heard a lot of interviews back then in the '90s that he doesn't really want to box. He used to always say this, even going into the Morrison fight. He'd tell you, "Hey, I don't want to box. I want to." What did I'm trying to think of the exact term he used? Battle. That was the word he said. Battle. And he said boxing is like, because we know I believe he was in the army. Was he in the Navy? He was in one of them. And he used to always say stuff like, just like in the Army or Navy, whichever one it was, you either live or you die. There is no in between. So he loves a battle. And Holmes gave it to him for the most part. He gave it to him. He willingly went against the ropes. He didn't necessarily do the rope a dope, but he fought against the ropes. And I thought he did it because when you older, and shit, I think Holmes was like 42, 43, and Mercer was like 30 in that going into that fight. I believe Holmes was 42 or 43 and Ray was 30. So just in case I thought Holmes was playing it off to where, if you do hurt me, I do get buzzed, I'm against the ropes. Now watching it now, I'm thinking like, man, Larry is lucky that he didn't get hurt and get caught on the ropes or hung up on the ropes, a la Morrison and the other guys I've seen. Mercer have them trapped against the ropes and they get caught and get teed off on. But man, Larry was dominating with the jab. He was landing good, solid combinations. Larry Holmes' hands look quick in that fight. His legs look like old man legs, kind of. As you get older, your legs get a little bit. If you're not really working on them like that, your legs get a little bit skinnier, a little bit stiff. You know what I mean? Especially when you take clean shots or glancing blows, your legs can stiffen up a little bit. But for the most part, man, Larry moved when he needed to. He tied Ray up. He was talking to Ray. There was even a point in the fight, man, where he turned and was literally talking to the camera, talking to the cameraman. I believe he said, "I'm not Morrison." I believe he muffled that, "I'm not Morrison." Literally looking at, and I thought that threw Ray off so bad because Ray, the last thing that he's thinking is somebody's gonna be talking to the camera while they're in the ring with me. You know what I mean? Especially at that time, 1991, 92 version of Ray Mercer. Uh, but yeah, man, that was a really good fight. Ray had a lot of good fights in his career, man. The fights with Holyfield and Lennox Lewis, with Burt Cooper. He had some down moments like the Ferguson fight. That Ferguson fight was a tune-up fight for him to fight Riddick Bowe, and he ended up losing that fight. He ended up losing the fight. A lot of controversy about that fight. There's a rumor during the rumor, all right, rumor allegedly that Ray was telling Ferguson, "Hey man, just fall." That was a rumor. All right, he was telling him in during the fight to just fall, just hey man, like just quit. You know what I mean? Um, and then Bowe ended up fighting Ferguson. You know what I mean? So a lot of missed opportunities with some fights with Ray. You know, we all want to see him fight Tyson. He still ended up fighting Holyfield. Uh, you know, but everybody didn't get to fight everybody in that era. But definitely would have liked to see Ray Mercer, especially around about 91, somewhere in there. Should even 97, 96 ish. I wouldn't have mind him fighting Tyson, but especially around like that 91. Uh, would have loved to see Ray Mercer versus Mike Tyson because Ray was relentless, man. I know one thing: he wouldn't have been intimidated and he wouldn't have ran away. I don't believe against Mike, because Tommy was landing some good shots on him, man. Some good uppercuts and hooks, and Ray was just taking him, man. Especially in that first round, I believe Tommy landed like a right uppercut, left hook that snapped his head back, and Ray just took it. You know what I mean? That dude had a damn good chin, man. Um, but yeah, man, Larry was bringing all the tricks out, man. He was he was doing everything to preserve himself in that fight. He was holding on to the ropes when he needed to. Like I said, he moved when he needed to, wrapped them up, landing good combinations, was using the jab effectively. He was just keeping Ray at bay, at arm's length, keeping him out. He was even there was even points in the fight where he was had his jab hand out, just kind of like place it on Ray's forehead, just keeping him there. You know how like you play with your little, your little brother, you keep, you know what I'm saying, you keep him out there with your hand on it, on his head, and then coming down right down the middle with right hands. He was lining Ray up, and then Ray would throw his flurry, and Larry was just taking him, rolling with him, catching him on the elbow, rolling, catching. I mean, beautiful fight by Larry Holmes, man. One of the reasons why I have Larry rated so high is my all not just heavyweight, but I think Larry Holmes is one of the three best fighters I've ever seen in my life. Um, but yeah, man. So that's my throwback that I watched today, along with some others. Today I watched a lot of Ray Mercer. I watched the Morrison fight again, the Damiani fight, the Holmes fight, and I watched the Holyfield fight. Um, I watched a lot of his early '90s stuff. You know what I mean? So that was my throwback stuff for today. Now, Joseph Parker, okay? A few days ago, I didn't get a chance to do a video about it, but opponent that they're talking about that's being rumored is Alexander Ustinov. I think that's an acceptable comeback type of fight. Both guys are coming off losses. So, and I guess if you want to, you know, be technical about it, I guess Ustinov did his last loss was for a quote world title, although I don't count it. But he lost to what's my man's name? Manuel Char, right, for that WBA regular title. All right, so he is a big guy. He's about 6'8", about 300 something pounds. His only knockout loss, and I think to me he more quit in the fight than actually being knocked out, was against Pulev. I thought he was just having a hard time adjusting to Pulev's jab and right hand. Just Ustinov just didn't look like he wanted to be there. You know, he took a knee. He got hit with a left hook, and then it was kind of like a delayed reaction, but he didn't look hurt. He just more looked like frustrated, and he just didn't want to be there. You know what I mean? He took the knee, could have beat the count. Um, Manuel Char put up a decent effort, you know what I'm saying? Had Char against the ropes a few times, and he's just a big dude, but I see Parker easily at the least outboxing him, just moving around. I'm not sure Houston will be able to even really put hands on him, man. But I think a goal that Parker can set is actually winning the fight for one, and then possibly try to be, the first guy to actually really knock him out. Or if you want to be the second guy to get a stoppage, technically, right? But to be somebody that's really knocked him out, you know what I mean? And I think Parker possesses the hand speed to catch him with punches he doesn't see coming. But if Ustinov can see everything coming, it's going to be really hard for Parker to knock him out, man. Ustinov is 41 years old, so he is up there in age. I know I was speaking to some New Zealand fans earlier, and they like the narrative of Ustinov is the guy who ended David Tua's career. I guess you can say that it was Tua's last fight, but that was the 2013 version of David Tua. Tua was like 41 years old, man. You know what I mean? So um, I guess we can go with that, but I don't think we really need it. You know what I mean? But I guess they can play that to the media and market it that way. But I don't really think we need that to say, oh, he's going to avenge Tua's loss. You know what I mean? It was Tua's last damn fight. It's not like he beat Tua in his prime. You know what I mean? That was an old last fight of his career, 41-year-old David Tua. All right. But I wouldn't mind the fight. A quick little comeback type of fight. Like I said, man, he's going to look spectacular in the fight because I just don't see how Usmanov going to be able to cut the ring off on him. Don't think he's quick enough to throw with Joseph Parker. And I don't think he has the defense or the reflexes to get out of the way of the hand speed of Joseph Parker. So I see him at the very least outboxing Ustinov rather easily, in my opinion. Um, but after that, obviously I want to see JP pick it up after that. Shit, you look at the rankings right now, he's number 5 by the WBC and he is number 5 by the WBO. So somebody in that top 5, I would like to see him fight. And if you look at that top 5, we're talking about guys like Jarrell Miller, Dillian White, Kirbat Pulev, Povetkin, Ortiz. Those are the type of names I want to see Parker in there with. You know what I'm saying? So Ustinov, he is rated number 10 by the WBA. I mean, these sanctioning bodies, I look at the rankings sometimes, but sometimes, man, that's why sometimes I do look at the rankings. But when people say, he hasn't fought a top 10 guy or top 10, it's like, which top 10 are you talking about? Like a consensus top 10? Because if you go by some of these sanctioning bodies top 10s, man, it's garbage. You know what I mean? BJ Flores is rated number 6. We all know that BJ Flores, all due respect to him as a professional fighter, he is not a number 6 rated heavyweight. He's just not. That's not true. You know what I mean? You look at the WBO rankings, Tom Schwartz, good German prospect. I like Tom Schwartz. He's working his way up. His last fight against Sanada Gashi was wild, to say the least. But Tom Schwartz is not a top 6 heavyweight. You get what I'm saying here? So on and so forth, man. I mean, I can go through each sanctioning body. I'm not just trying to pick on those 2 sanctioning bodies. All these sanctioning bodies. I mean, Stavern at number 15 by the WBC. I don't think Bermain Stavern right now is a top 15 heavyweight. Um, Consensus all around, not sanctioning body, but I just don't, Guillermo Jones is number 8 by the WBA. So you guys get where I'm going with this, man. I almost think that, you know, these sanctioning bodies should come together, man, especially in the heavyweight division. I think they should. I think the top 5 for every sanctioning body should be the same, and then I think 6 through 10 they can have their own guys they want at those positions. Because undisputed is something that we really want, and not only undisputed. Because what I want is for a guy to accomplish undisputed, but then be able to defend the undisputed crown without being stripped because Tom Schwartz is getting his title shot or glass call for somebody. It was just like when the IBF, and I'm not picking on Tom Schwartz, I'm just saying how these sanctioning bodies get down. A real example is when not to say Fury was undisputed fully, because he wasn't, because he didn't have the WBC crown, but when he was unified with 3 titles at that time, they stripped him of the IBF because he wouldn't fight Glasscoff, as if Glasscoff is somebody that really needs to get his title shot. For him and his team, it was like that, but nobody was clamoring for Glasscoff to get his title shot like that. You know what I'm saying? Shit, a lot of people thought Glasscoff lost to Derek Rossi, you know what I mean? And so on and so forth, man. So I believe that all the sanctioning bodies' top 5 should be the same. And then 6 through 10, they can come up with their own 6 through 10. But the top 5 guys are the top 5 guys, man. You know what I mean? So then that way, it just makes it better for us fans. Is more uniform to me, and it's more structured like that, man. So let's just say, for example, let's say Dillian White. Well, shit, Dillian White is rated number 1 by the WBC, right? So if he's rated, and then let's say I'm not looking at the rankings, but I believe he's in the top five and a few other sanctioning bodies. So is Jarrell Miller. So if he's number three by the IBF, but he gets his WBC shot, then okay, all the sanctioning bodies know okay, Whyte is getting his title shot. He's in the top five of all of our of all the other sanctioning bodies. That means something, so he can be next in line. You know what I mean? Then let's let Miller get his shot in Brazil and whoever else is rated Parker, shit like that. But should be more structure, man. I know that's me having wishful thinking right now, but we just need more structure in boxing, man, because these sanctioning body rankings are just unbelievable, man. Unbelievable with some of the names that I'm seeing. Um, but yeah, I do like that fight for Parker. All right. What else I want to talk about? Joe Joyce calling out. I'm gonna get to the comments in a second here, man. But Joe Joyce calling out all these guys. I know first it was Mercer that he wanted to fight. Um, then I seen something with him calling out Miller. Then I seen Miller saying that Joyce needs what 10 or 15 fights or something like that, 11 fights or something, double-digit fights before he starts calling him out. Then I seen Dillian White respond to what Joyce is doing, saying Joyce wasn't good enough to turn pro back in the day, and he needed to let Anthony Joshua move on to turn pro in order for him to make it to the Olympics, and so on and so forth. So what I will say is this: um, Joyce is doing what he needs to do to try to get a fight, especially in today's era of social media. He's talking, he's calling people out, and seeing if they'll take the bait. Now, I'm seeing fans have their opinion about, oh, Miller ducked him, and this guy's like, how can they duck Joe Joyce? He's not rated. He's not a top five rated guy. Um, Sanctioning bodies aren't saying fight Joe Joyce in a title eliminator. To me, Whyte and Miller and guys like that, and Povetkin and Parker, they need to be trying to fight each other. Let Joe Joyce see if guys like he's lucky if guys like a Chisura, Dimitrenko, maybe a Ajay Kabayel or a Tom Schwartz or somebody like that will take the bait and fight him. But him trying to just simply call out guys, now look, it's one thing if you're rated number 10 by whatever sanctioning body and you call somebody out that's rated number 3 or number 2 or number 1. Okay, I understand that, but you're not rated at all in the top 15. You only have 4 professional fights. It's not like you're the type of amateur where you're like this Lomachenko, Rigondeaux, Teofilo Stevenson type of amateur. You know what I mean? Where you multiple gold medals. I mean, no, you won a silver, which is you earned a silver, which is very hard to do. It's not easy. But at the same time, though, man, it's not like you were this, just spectacular amateur. You were a very good amateur, solid guy. You sparred some of everybody. You're 32 years old. So Hay and Joyce, they're trying to, push this thing quickly. You know what I mean? So they can get one of these guys that are former title challengers, so on and so forth, or guys that are rated in the top five, trying to get them to fight. So I get what he's trying to do. I totally get it. But I wouldn't go as far as say people are ducking Joe Joyce. Like what that doesn't even make any sense. Um, Now, if you're asking me if everybody else is booked and nobody can fight Miller, like Miller can't get Dillian White or Povetkin or Parker, or I'm just throwing names out there, Brazil or Charles Martin or Andy Ruiz Jr. or so on and so forth. Would I rather see, if he can't fight any of those guys, right? Would I rather see Jarrell Miller fight some obscure journeyman or Joe Joyce? Well, of course I'd rather see him just fight Joe Joyce. But at the same time, if a Joyce fight doesn't come about, doesn't mean he's ducking him. I just don't understand that. You know what I mean? But I understand what Joe Joyce is trying to do, though. I totally understand. And he's going to have to, man. He's going to have to. Hopefully somebody will bite. Hopefully somebody like Christian Hammer, like I said, Christian Hammer or Dimitrenko or Edmund Gerber or, somebody like that will take the bait and fight him. Derek Rossi, um, somebody of that ilk, man. Somebody of that ilk. Somebody who's not only possibly fought for a title, but probably put up a good effort, or was in a title eliminator that probably lost, but put up a good effort. Maybe somebody like that will give him a fight. But right now, I don't see guys like Miller or Whyte giving him a fight. But in the UK, it's different though. because out there, if you're popular, the fans will want to see it. I mean, look at a guy like David Hay right now. I know it's a little different, but shit, look at David Hay. He had a position, man, to where he actually was in line to fight the winner out of Parker versus Ruiz Jr. when they fought for that vacant WBO title. Hay was the one that said, "Nah, you know what? I'm gonna fight Tony Bellew." He was trying to go for quick money, and it was a cherry pick went wrong. You know what I mean? It went wrong, way wrong. All right, so he took himself out of fighting for a title to pick up some money. Nobody was, well, I'm gonna say nobody, but besides a lot of UK people and fans, nobody was saying, yeah, give us that Hay versus Bellew. A lot of us was saying, shit, yeah, Hay versus the winner out of Ruiz and Parker, yeah, give us that. But domestically, people were saying, yeah, it's a little rivalry. Uh, the UK loves their domestic rivalries, and fair enough. They wanted the fight. So what I'm saying is maybe Joyce can get a domestic fight that will be big there, like a Huey Fury or maybe Dillian White or something like that. But but looking at the large picture though, I don't really see those guys needing to fight him. Now, if they fight him, hey, fair enough. But needing to fight him or answering his call out, besides just I'm a man, my pride. Rather than that, I don't really see them needing to fight Joe Joyce. Now, that doesn't mean that he doesn't that he should never get a fight with those guys, because I'm not saying that, but I know he's trying to put himself on a fast track and get a fight, man. But he may need to fight a Demetrenko level type guy and just work his way up a little bit. I'm not saying he needs 20 fights, but at least a few more fights, and hopefully somebody does fight him, or maybe he can get in good with one of these sanctioning bodies and get himself a top 15 ranking. But until then, I don't really see nobody needing to fight him. 36 people watching right now. That's what's up. Only 13 thumbs up. Smash that like button, man. I forgot what I titled this. I put Mercer and Holmes, talked about that. Joe Joyce, Parker. Who else did I have in the title for this video? Was it Miller and Whyte? See what y'all talking about, man. Damn, I missed a lot of comments. All right. Ronald Finkley was good. L Hodge 5 says, please talk about Dillian getting robbed by Wilder and WBC. I mean, when you say robbed by Wilder, I mean, I guess, man, if that's what you feel. But my thing is this. My opinion about this has never changed. So to a lot of you, I'm going to be just repeating myself over and over again. The WBC, in my opinion, man, they made a bad decision when they look. First of all, Dillian White and Dominic Brazil fought a week apart from each other last year, right? When the WBC put together their title eliminator fights, they should have had the winner out of Whyte in his fight. I believe it was the Helenius fight, and Brazil and Molina. They should have had the winners, because remember there was a big discrepancy. A lot of people did videos about it. I did a video about it. About, was it a final eliminator or wasn't? Because at first, initially, it was going to be a final eliminator, Brazil versus Molina. Then the WBC reneged and said it's not. So I think that's fucked up for them to do it. Not for the sake of Dillian White, just for the sake of them just doing it, period. Damn Dillian White. Just the fact that they said it's not a title eliminator, or I'm sorry, it's not a final eliminator. I'm sorry, it's not a final eliminator. And then say, oh no, that was a final eliminator. I think that just fucked up, period. You know what I mean? But you had 2 elimination bouts. Why not just pair the winner? That to me made the most sense. And to tell you the truth, before those fights were scheduled, I was saying, and a lot of fans, not just me, a lot of us were saying, why not just pair Brazil and White up now? Then the winner of it is the mandatory. You guys get what I'm saying? So I think it's fucked up that what the WBC did as far as that goes. Now, they're saying Brazil is going to be the man to get the fight, possibility to fight Wilder. I just don't think the WBC should have made that Molina fight a title eliminator, man. I mean, a final eliminator. That was just That shouldn't make any sense, man. That didn't make any sense. The fair thing to me would have been to pair Brazil up with White. You know what I mean? But that's all these sanctioned bodies, man. I know you guys want to just say the WBC, WBC, but man, that's all. I mean, I don't know if you joined. Well, you asked this question earlier, but man, look at these sanctioned bodies, yo. Like BJ Flores is number 6 by I believe the WBA. You know what I'm saying here? Like Guillermo Jones is rated number 8. So you know, come on, man. Guys rated behind them are getting not getting their fair shake, in my opinion. Tom Schwartz is rated number 6 by the WBO. You get what I'm saying? It's all these damn sanctioned bodies, yo. It's not just the WBC, but I do think what the WBC did is fucked up. Now, when you say Wilder, I'm not sure Wilder uh, told them to do that, but I know a lot of people think that they're protecting him, and that's a whole different video if that's how you feel. But shit, if you look at all these sanctioned bodies, I think everybody's being, if that's the case, then everybody's being protected then, because these rankings make no sense at all, man. None at all when I look at them. And I heard somebody say, why does Ortiz get another shot? I'm not saying you said that, but I've been reading that comment. I'm scratching my head like another shot. They're not giving him shit. What they're giving him is a fight against White to earn a shot at the title again. But they're not necessarily just giving him a title shot. He has to earn it. He has to beat White. You know what I mean? Um, so it is what it is, man. I know I'd rather see a guy like Ortiz fighting another eliminator than fucking BJ Flores, or you know what I mean, or somebody else that's in the top 5 or top 6 of a sanctioned body that shouldn't be there. All these damn sanctioned bodies are corrupt, man. But White has an but White's in a good position, man. He can fight. He'll be the second mandatory if he fights Ortiz, and the IBF ordered him and Pulev. So he can get. Then he's always said he wanted to fight Joshua again, so he's in a good position. Either wait his turn to see what's going to happen with Wilder, or just the WBC strap. But right now, to me, White should be chasing titles, not necessarily the fighter. So whoever have that WBC title, whatever damn title it is that he's fighting the final eliminator for, mandatory spot for, he needs to be chasing titles, man. Arjun Gunathi was good. Southside Snipers was good. Briscano GB was good. He says it's irrelevant anyways. White is getting smashed to bits by Pulev. Purse bid is on Thursday, and there's no going back. We will see. We will see. It's definitely not going to be an easy fight for Dillian White. And I like Dillian White, but I'm not just this believer of just like this huge injustice to Dillian White. Like he's been some guy that's been denied his title shot for 10 years and some shit like that. Now I believe sometimes some fans take it a little bit overboard. Now I mean, yeah, I don't like what I'm not excusing the WBC, but again though, let's pump our brakes to here now. It's not like Dillian White's this guy that's you know the last 5-6 years he just been deprived of title shots, and I think some people take it a little bit too far, putting too much sauce on it. VVS One Loose Stones was good, man. El Haj 5 says Brazil should fight in the final eliminator versus Ortiz, or Brazil and White should have fought in the final eliminator once they won their elimination fights, their elimination bouts, because both of those were just normal elimination bouts. They were not final. So wouldn't that make sense to have those kind of like a tournament, have those guys fight for it, and then when Wilder was fighting Ortiz, that was just like, now that to me was a consensus top five type of heavyweight, not sanctioning body, but just Ortiz in everybody's book, whether you want to say he was 92 or 52 or a guy fans want to put the sauce on it, but whatever you want to say, man, he was looked at as a legit top three, top four type of heavyweight. So Wilder he took care of that. You know what I mean? He took care of his mandatory, which was Stavern first, and then he fought Ortiz, a fight that a lot of people thought he was going to. Some people thought he was going to lose. You know what I mean? When all that was going on, the WBC should have been making Whyte versus Brazil, man. My opinion will never change about that. The WBC dropped the ball on that badly. Hop says Mercer Morrison KO could have been fatal. Ref very slow on the uptake. Yeah, man, the ref was like trying to. He was behind Mercer, kind of like, come on, stop. He kind of put his arms around him. Mercer, the type of dude, if he sees blood like that, he's trying to decapitate you, man. You have to damn near tackle him. It's like Mike. It's like Mike. Like any vicious finisher, you got to tackle them off people, man. Trying to just use one arm or some soft, half-hearted hug to get him back, to pull him back, man. He's locked in, tunnel vision, trying to destroy this dude. You know what I mean? He blacked out, man. Like Mercer literally blacked out on Tommy Morrison. He blacked out on him, man. And all due respect to Tommy Gunn, man, Morrison was a good heavyweight in the '90s. Very exciting. Um, Played in Rocky. Exciting times for him in them early '90s, man. But uh, he bounced back, was able to beat Big George. You know what I mean? Ruddick. You know what I mean? So, but oh man, Mercer was in kill mode when he had him hurt, man. And shit, he was busting up Mercer a little bit in the first few rounds too, to his credit. You know what I mean? But yeah, the ref definitely he should have tackled right, man. He should have tackled him. James Coleman says Riddick should have fought Lewis though. Just saying, yeah, he should have, man. When he threw that title in the garbage, I know to this day I heard Lennox. I heard I heard Bo talk about that, and I can tell to this day, man, that he really wished that he would have fought Lennox Lewis. And it's funny that he threw the titles in the garbage and just said walked away from it. But I think his manager at the time had a lot to do with that, man. I always forget that damn dude's name too. The little white dude with the beard, man, that talk like a brother. What's fuck? I always forget his name. Damn, I know one of y'all gonna leave it in the comment section, but he would always say like Riddick don't have to fight him. Riddick don't have to do this. Riddick he would, and Bo could talk for himself, but that dude would always talk for Bo too. And that didn't seem like Bo's personality, man, because Bo confronted um, Lennox after he won the title. Remember when he got out the ring, he confronted Lennox face to face, talking shit to each other. He 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 punched Larry Donald in the jaw at their presser. Uh, the fight with Elijah Tillery when they were kicking each, you know what I'm saying? So he always get into these type of altercations, man. Fighting after the bell with Evander. I believe him and Tubbs got into a little skirmish too. I could be wrong. Maybe it wasn't Tubbs. But I know him and Burt Cooper, the beginning of their fight, when the ref, gives them the final instructions, Cooper like punched him in his stomach as they were separating, and then Bo came back because the ref wanted him to touch gloves. Bo punched him back in his chest. Like Bo, his personality, that's why I didn't get it. Him throwing the title in the garbage, man. If anything, he's like he want to fight you before he do something like that. But you know how that's how I go, man. Ronald Finkley says, "Salute new media. That's what's up." VVS1 Lou Stone says, "LDBC, what it do?" Hop says you can also give Mercer one of the most rock-like chins of all time. You damn right. I believe was it Shannon? Was it Shannon or was it? I know Shannon knocked him out later on in his career, and that was an older, that was an older Ray too. You know what I mean? Did Klitschko? Oh, I forget. I forget. I need to catch up on these comments. Damn. Hop says, "What a great jab Holmes had." I guess everyone knows that. Yeah, yeah. Um, Arjun Gunnelsby says, "Bro, did you catch Fury versus Sexton fight? That right hand was a thing of beauty." Wow, yeah. When he bounced off the ropes, man. That if you talking about the second knockdown, yeah, man. That right hand caught. He didn't even see it. Fury kind of like bounced off the ropes, came, boom, landed a good sneaky right hand. I don't think Sexton even seen that damn right hand coming, and it crumbled him. I thought that was a good victory for Huey, um, especially coming off a fight where a lot of fans thought that he was moving too much, or they were saying he was running, but he was being an outboxer. I just didn't think he set down his punches enough. And ironically, we talked about Larry Holmes, and I've heard him say that he looked up to guys like Holmes and Ali in the way they fought. But one thing Huey, and I know he knows this, maybe he just don't feel as comfortable doing this as of right now, or maybe he hasn't been in a fight where somebody has forced him to do this. But one thing that I call Holmes and Ali is the term I have is boxer fighters. Some people say boxer punchers. It wasn't so much that I thought Ali and Holmes were punchers, but they would stand their ground and fight. When the moving around wasn't going to work, or the ring was getting cut off on them, or times that they thought that, hey, I need to make this dude respect me, man. I'm gonna have to sit down on some of these shots. Kind of like what Holmes did. Now you could say it's because Holmes is a little bit older, but kind of like what Holmes did against Mercer. He couldn't move the whole fight, so he had to sit down on some punches, plant his feet, dig his feet, turn into some right hands, left hooks, uppercuts, body shots, the whole nine. You know what I mean? Um, Sometimes you gotta fight your way out, man. You know what I'm saying? You gotta fight sometimes your corner, you literally gotta fight your way out that corner, man. And Huey, I think he needs to add some of that to his repertoire. I'm not saying you should go out there and slug with people, but sometimes you gotta plant them feet, man, and get that respect. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying fight off pride, but what I'm saying is you have to plant them feet, man, and throw 4 or 5 punch combinations. And Huey's a quick puncher. He has pretty quick hands, man. Guy 6'6", 230 pounds. That's another thing that I liked about this fight with Sexton is he came in at 232. For the Parker fight, he was 231 and a half. So it lets me know that he took the fight serious. Um, and when he sat down on some right hands, I know Sexton isn't world level, but when he sat down on some right hands, he was landing them. They were phasing Sexton. I think Huey should be sitting down throwing 3, 4 punch combinations at the least. I'm not saying sit there and throw 7, 8 punch combinations a la Larry Holmes, you know what I mean? But at least let some combinations go, man. You can still box and turn and pivot and feint and left to right movement and circle. And I get that. I get the style. But you got to make these guys respect you and make sure you're landing enough to where the judges know that you're winning fights decisively. You know what I mean? Just my opinion. I'm sure the Furies have a game plan set for Huey, but just my opinion on the outside looking in on that, based on what I've seen from other outboxers throughout the years. You know what I mean? Hop says Ray Mercer, Olympic gold medalist. Was he not? Yes, he was at heavyweight, not super heavyweight. At heavyweight, 1988. Lennox was the super heavyweight gold medalist that year, and Ray was the heavyweight gold medalist. Yes, he was a gold medalist. with not that much experience as an amateur. And he actually, guess who he beat to get to the Olympics? Tommy Morrison. They fought in Olympic trials. That fight is actually on YouTube. You guys haven't seen it? Ray Mercer versus Tommy Morrison in the Olympic trials. That fight's on YouTube. Go check it out if you haven't. And no, it did not end like the professional fight did, but that fight is on YouTube. The build up, man, the build up for that Morrison and Mercer fight was crazy, yo, because I remember they had an interview ringside for the build up. It was like the week of the fight. I think the fight was like the next few days or something. And I remember they were at a forgot what fight they were at, and they had both guys ringside talking, and them dudes didn't even make eye contact. It looked like they just did not want to be around each other, and they wanted to fight right then and there. Not so much they were showing animosity, but I think, but you guys know how it is, man. Once the training's over with, there's not really much else to talk about. You just want to fight the dude. That's the look they had on their faces when I was watching that interview, man. They were not looking at each other. Both guys seemed very confident. They did not take that amateur fight they had with each other into consideration. By that time, both guys looked a lot thicker, a lot stronger, uh, looked a little bit more polished than they did in that amateur fight. Um, yeah, yeah. Undefeated going into that fight, too, man. I love fights like that. Two big, strong heavyweights, man, undefeated, trying to get that title shot. Although they were fighting for a WBO strap, but we know at that time who the real champ was, and it was the real deal, Evander Holyfield. Antonio McCrae says, "What I miss." Um, shit, man. Talked about Holmes and Mercer, Joe Parker, Joseph Parker possibly fighting Alexander Usanov, Joe Joyce, calling out everybody named Mama, trying to get a fight. How shitty the sanctioning body rankings are. See some more comments. St. Cruiser says Stavern is done. Sanctioning bodies are a joke. Yes, they are, man. A damn joke. Kiwi Box was good, man. He says thanks for dropping in on my stream. Appreciate your time and opinion. Yeah, man. I appreciate that, man. Wanted to come get my opinion real quick on your stream. Mr. Doc, what's up? He says, did I miss you talk about Grandpa Holmes schooling Merciless Ray Mercer? Yeah, man. I'm not sure when you joined, but yeah, definitely talked about that. Um, he definitely took him to school. He tricked him, man. He tricked him. Ray thought it was gonna be sweet. He thought he thought he was fighting an old man. He was, but Larry, that damn hand speed didn't seem like he was an old man. Them legs seem kind of old, though. I'm not gonna lie. He did have them old man legs, where they're a little bit stiff. But as far as his confidence, his hand speed, the way he was absorbing Mercer's shots, and Mercer was landing some good shots on Larry, man. Go watch that fight. I mean, booming left hooks, booming straight right hands, booming uppercuts, and Larry was taking them and dishing. He was taking them and dishing. He wouldn't let Mercer get into a rhythm of dominating the fight physically. You know what I mean? Because Ray, when he was at his best, is when he can start successfully landing punches and you wouldn't answer back. You let him kind of control it. That's what Evander did against Ray. That's what you always had to do against Ray. You couldn't let him control the tempo. Man, if he starts to land shots, you can't give him the impression of, okay, you're taking over the fight. I have to just go defense on. You got to punch that motherfucker up off you, man. The Holyfield fight was funny because Ray wanted to maul with Holyfield a little bit early, and Holyfield would land, and then he'll push Ray off. Like, you ain't about to maul me. I'm pushing you off, and then I'm circling. I'm keep this shit in the middle of the ring. You know what I mean? Early in that fight. It's funny the way Larry fought him, because Larry was inviting him to the corner. Like, yeah, come on. I'm right in the corner. I'm over here. I'm right over here. You know what I'm saying? I'm right here. Telling him, come on, come over here. You know what I mean? Trying to rope-a-dope him a little bit. And but Larry is doing a great job of tricking him of, okay, my back's on the ropes. I'm gonna outfight you and then turn you and spin you to the ropes. You know, he was just doing a lot of tricks, man. There's a few times Ray just kind of, one point in the fight where he dropped his hands, kind of just like he was frustrated. Like, damn, I'm hitting this old man with everything I got. and he ain't going nowhere. He was probably thinking like, damn, I should have fought Michael Moore. Not to say Michael Moore would have been some easy walkover back in 91, 92. I'm not saying that shit. Moore went on to beat Evander, you know what I mean? So I'm not saying that. Uh, but man, Larry took him to school, man. Kiwi Box says Miller is a B. Oh, he's probably talking to somebody. Derek Robbins says Hearn said today that the IBF mandated fight Pulev versus White would mean 75-25 split in favor of Pulev because Pulev is ranked number two. I don't know nothing about that. I mean, if that's I didn't look that up today or see it today. Maybe I'll look that up. Sammy DeSook says thoughts on the idea of the Ring magazine belt being part of the Joshua Wilder unification. Um, I really don't think it's needed at this point. Long as them four major titles are on the line, I really don't think it's needed, man. I really haven't took the Ring or anything about the Ring serious in about 10 years, man. Tell you the truth. Mr. Doc says the sanctioning bodies desperately need some kind of basic structured umbrella group with authority over all of them for the purpose of things like rankings and forcing unification fights to happen. I agree with that point. God of War says, "Do you think the sanctioning bodies want an undisputed champion?" Um, I'm not sure. I'm not sure if all of them want it. I think maybe a couple of them want it. Uh, I think they just want to be in control of their own destiny. They just want their own champions and their own top 10 where they can put guys like BJ Flores as number 6 and all that type of shit. But to me, man, to save the sport and to bring some like I said, just some structure to it, man. They should, and especially in a situation like this, they should at least just try this for a year. All the sanctioning bodies have the same top 5, like I was saying earlier. 6 through 10, they can individually come up with their own 6 through 10 if they want to, but have the same top 5. And in their case, let's say Joshua wins it, right? He's the cash cow. Uh, they can get a lot of sanctioning fee money from him or whoever it is, man. But or if Wilder wins, um, you still don't get a sanctioning fee. You know what I mean? So it really shouldn't matter. You know what I mean? Because shit, how much were they getting for sanctioning fees? Was the WBO getting when Parker? I'm not sure how it's split up as far as what percent they get. That's something I really don't keep track of. So maybe if some of you guys are privy to that information, you could leave it in the chat. But we need to put that shit to the side, man, and just it's just the best thing for the sport. Who wants to have 4 champions, 3 champions at one division? It just doesn't make any sense. You know, but I think all of them having the same top 5 would bring structure. So then that way, once a guy gets a title shot for one of the straps, we can move on to the next contender. You know what I mean? And if one of the guys that are 6 through 10, they should have to beat one of the guys that's in the top 5 for them to move up and possibly get a title shot. And then I think that whoever's the undisputed champion, if they do have a mandatory, okay, fulfill your mandatory. Or if they have a voluntary defense and they can fight somebody through that 6 through 10 of one of the sanctioned bodies. But I think the top 5 should all be the same. Kiwi Box says no confirmation on what Whyte is going to do, but IBF route is shortest to a title shot for Whyte because of the WBC's BS. Mr. Doc says these top 10 guys need to stop passing around Duapa, Fred Cassie, Molina, Chris Ariel, etc. Yeah, man. all the recycled fighters and recycled matchups, like the shit gets just boring. It gets boring after a while, because how long can we keep saying, well, I want to see what Dillian White does against Duopa in comparison to Povetkin and Wilder? If we keep doing that, I mean, shit, sooner or later, we going to be saying we want to see what Tony Yoka can do against Duopa. You know what I mean? 2 years from now, we're going to be saying what Philippe Herkovic can do against Duopa. And, after a while, it's like, okay, we get it. Duopa can't beat a top five guy. Let's fucking move on from Duopa. You know what I mean? Let's move on from the Molinas and let's move on from those guys, man. Have those guys fight each other so we can establish something. Beating up on guys that are, former title contenders from 3, 4 years ago, man. Okay, I get it. But once that title contender guy loses to two, three, or four top 10 rated guys, we kind of get the point. We don't have to keep recycling these guys, man. If anything, dual punt guys like that should get shots against guys maybe that are, rated 11 through 15, something like that. But there's no need for top five rated guys to be fighting. And I know Dupa had a high ranking by the WBC. I think he was like number 7. All right, but you guys get what I'm trying to say, regardless of that number 7 ranking. You guys get what I'm trying to say. How about let's see what a guy can do against Andrew Reeves Jr. or something like that. Or let's give a guy like LaRon Mitchell a chance. Or shit, let's see what Tom Schwartz can do, or Ajit Kabayel or something like that, man. Shit, Kabayel beat Chisora. So instead of seeing what a guy can do against Chisora, let's see what somebody can do against Ajit Kabayel. Kabayel beat him. I guess that makes too much. I guess that's too much like right. I guess I don't know. Derek Robbins says, nobody is ducking. Mr. Boxing just said he needs to go to the quickest route to get a title shot. IBF is the quickest route because it's the first mandatory. Yeah, shit. Do whatever he needs to do to get his title shot. I think he's gonna run into a roadblock once he gets his shot. I don't see Whyte beating AJ or Wilder. But yeah, he should do what he needs to do for his career to get it, the quickest way to a title shot. St. Cruzan says Mercer's KO of Morrison was brutal. Yeah, man, it was yikes. And it wasn't the. I mean, we've seen a lot of guys get knocked unconscious. It was to me, it was more just the vicious way he finished them. He was so relentless and so unforgiving and so cold about it. You get what I'm saying? It was just so. It was a chilling knockout, man. It was ugly. It was ugly. But that's the beauty. You know what I mean? That's the ugly beauty of boxing. Mr. Doc says, "Oh man, the way Corey sparked Shavers. Yeah, he sparked Shaver. Wasn't that a first round knockout? I believe that was on the Frazier and damn, was that on one of the Frazier undercards? Was that at MSG? I think that was a Madison Square Garden card. But yeah, yeah, he sparked him. I believe it was the first round. He sparked him. Blood Boxing Returns. What's good, bro? What's good? Hey man, if y'all haven't already, man, go check out the collab me and Blood did the other day. We talked about a lot, but I think the title of the vid is I think Blood named it damn, AJ Wilder, What the Fight Means to Me. I believe that was the title of it. But if you actually listen to the video, we talked about 80s, 90s, then we led up to, and I like the way Blood did that too, but we kind of led up to Wilder, AJ, What the Fight Means, broke down the styles. But the way Blood set it up was dope though, because we talked about the 80s for a while, the 90s for a while, the beginning of the 2000 up until right now. So I like the way Blood broke that down on the fly like that. That was pretty dope. Y'all go check that out, man. Talked about a lot of history in that video. Blood says, I see you, Mr. Doc, and St. Cruz, y'all talking. He says, Blood says, yeah, I think Holmes would have beat Foreman at any stage because the styles. Hmm. You know what? I said that too. That I think Holmes beats him, man. I think Holmes beats him because Ray was putting a lot of pressure, but man, I don't know. Maybe it's just one of them tricky things where maybe I'm overthinking this, but maybe Foreman slowed down just enough to where I'm talking about the '90s now. Maybe he slowed down enough to where he's like, I'm not about to exert a whole bunch of energy because George learned from that Ali fight. You know what I mean? Not to say that he went undefeated after that throughout the rest of his duration of his career when he came back and all that. Even when he lost to Jimmy Young or and stuff like that. But I think he knew that that wasn't going to work unless he really knew he can knock you out quick. Uh, so he was a little bit more patient. But still, I think him trying to be patient and trying to wait it out or try to score points, I think Larry hands was too quick. Even when Larry was old, man, he still had pretty quick damn hands, yo. His hands were still pretty quick. I think he just would have outpointed George in the '90s. I think he would have outpointed him. Um, that's how I see that one going. Because Ray was putting on some good pressure, man. And Holmes, he seemed like he was able to deal with those guys a little bit better in the '90s. Not it was about even the way they dealt with the fighters that they fought. Because Holmes, he fought McCall, and I mean, I don't know, man. It's like he dealt with those guys a little bit better than George. George come out the ring with pumpkin face, and I mean, yes, he did beat Moore, but man, he had to go through hell and hot water in a few of them fights, man. Where he came out looking just his face looked fucked up in those fights, man. Some of those fights, he had like pumpkin face in a few of those fights, man. The what's my man's name? Alex Stewart fight, even the Schultz fight. I mean, it's just Big George had to go through some hell and hot water. But shit, I thought Big George got robbed against Shannon Briggs. Man, give it up to Foreman. See, this is what I'm saying. This is why them dudes. When we talk about the greatest fighters of all time, I know people they like to go by how things looked and defense and footwork, and those are all things you take into account when you're breaking down a fighter, man. But just the fight this in you, shit that can't be taught. Being able to step up to challenges where you shouldn't even be really fighting at that stage. For them guys to do that, man, that's why those three guys, although Ali, his was a little bit different. He didn't have the longevity of Holmes and Foreman, but he did so much in his prime. And when he was out of his prime too, because like I always say, primes are different. People take prime by like your age. Primes are different, in my opinion. Um, are you a little bit, or should you be stronger and quicker and have better reflexes in your 20s? Of course you should. But your career, your big wins, things like that, that's a whole different discussion, man. But their longevity was better than Ali's. I understand that, but Ali, Foreman, and Holmes, just to me, they're the best fighters I've ever seen, man. And I've seen great. We all have seen great fighters, right? Non-heavyweight. Well, he fought at heavyweight. James Toney's another guy you guys always hear me talk about. James Toney's one of my favorites too. I know he fought at heavyweight, but I still look at James as not a heavyweight, man. Although he fought there, I know that. Um, but James was a damn good fighter too, man. But Holmes, Ali, and Foreman just the best fighters I've ever seen. Okay, Blood says Mercer told him this ain't Rocky. Okay, I thought he told him that I ain't Morris. I know he said something. I couldn't remember what he said, man. But yeah, he was talking shit. The man was looking at the camera, yo. Like as I'm watching, I'm like thinking, like, damn, a big right hand about to come and take his head off. But it was like I think that shit threw Mercer off. But that's how comfortable Larry felt up in there, man. You know what I mean? I think, and I do think it was a little bit of a mirage too. Kind of like remember when Bernard fought Pascal, and remember after one of the rounds, Bernard got down and started doing push-ups. You know what I mean? It's kind of like that. where you making the younger guy kind of doubt himself, like, damn, this old motherfucker doing push-ups, or this old motherfucker talking to the camera, and I'm hitting him with my best shit. You know what I mean? I didn't knock people unconscious with my best shots. And dude talking to the, he talking to the cameraman on the apron. You know what I mean? So I think that kind of threw him off a little bit, man. Hurt his pride a little bit. See what y'all talk about. I didn't call up to the comments now. See y'all going back and forth with a lot of stuff. Mr. Doc says Foreman's response to Larry's callouts was to ignore them, as I remember. Yeah, man, and even during the telecast of shit, it was one of the. I just remember George. What fight was that? It had to been. Oh damn, I gotta remember. But George was doing the telecast, and they were talking about Holmes. Damn, now I'm trying to remember, man. It's gonna take me a second. I just watched it the other day too, where they were talking about Holmes, and George didn't say nothing about wanting to fight Holmes. He was saying something about wanting to fight somebody else that fought Holmes though. Oh shit, I didn't forget, man. But people forget though, man. That's why people forget that fighting Holmes and fighting Foreman back then would get you some paper back then. I mean, Mercer, I believe he made $1 million when he fought Holmes. And you know what I mean? He made his little million, and then he fucked up his chance to fight Evander because Holmes fought Evander after he beat Mercer. You know what I mean? So, but like I said, Mercer ended up he got his chance at Evander later on, but it wasn't the same type of situation. Evander wasn't the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world. But shit, even in that fight, man, Holmes. I mean, Vander had to work for that decision too. Holmes didn't lay down easy, man. When I say lay down, he didn't get knocked out. You know what I mean? But Holyfield had to dig and work for that one. But yeah, back then, man, a lot of those young guys wanted Foreman and Holmes for that payday and to be a legend. You know what I mean? But sometimes them damn legends will show some damn resistance, man, and it could look funny. And the shit was a joy to watch. Let me know if I'm still on, man. I'm kind of going out now. I'm just rambling now, y'all. Just talking about all types of heavyweight shit, man. I'm probably gonna end this live stream in a second here, but let me read a few more comments from y'all. Is the stream on? Let me know if y'all can hear me, man. It went out, then it bounced back on. Yeah, it's back up. All right. I'm like I said, I'm kind of rambling now, and just talking about all types of shit from the heavyweight. But all right, somebody said audio keeps going on and off. Maybe because my battery's about to die. No, that shouldn't be it. I don't know. It's raining here too, so I don't know if that got something to do with it. But y'all throw some ideas. Right now, I'm just talking about anything heavyweight, man. 80s, 90s. Y'all throw some out there. We'll start a discussion, man. I'm just kind of going off on anything right now. Um, as far as the stuff that's right now I seen something. I don't want to do a video about it, man. From the last time I heard, AJ was saying that the fight's imminent with Wilder. Now it's just the final details. They just talking about venue and stuff like that. But then I seen something. Shouts out to Dan the Man, him and somebody else. I believe it was my man of the boxing clinic. Go sub to both of those channels. But I think they dropped video. I don't think, but they dropped videos today talking about uh, Hearn had a meeting with Ryan Binsky, something about Povetkin. So look, man, I'm just gonna wait until when I see who Joshua's opponent is and Wilder's opponent is, whether it's against each other, whoever, then I'll talk about it. But until then, I'm gonna watch old school and shit like that, man. I really can't. I've said everything I can possibly say about Wilder and AJ as far as them fighting, not fighting. So I don't know, man. I don't know what the meeting was about really. maybe like I heard those guys saying that maybe it was to possibly just get Povetkin to have some fights. Maybe to plan B just in case if Wilder doesn't work. Who really? I mean, we wasn't there, so who fucking really knows? But if they're not fighting each other next, like the next fight, I'm going to be upset. I don't. Now, am I going to watch AJ Povetkin? Of course, I'm a. The fight's on. I'm gonna watch the fight. That's what I do. You know what I mean? What I watch Wilder Brazil? Yeah. But am I clamoring for those fights right now? No, I'm not. I'm not. I'm just not. So I'll wait and see on that, man. And I'm gonna just go watch old school. You know what I mean? That's one thing about the old school stuff. The shit already happened. You know what I mean? So you can go back and enjoy. But right now, man, I just want to see the best fight the best. You know what I mean? I didn't pretty much say everything I can say about that. Mr. Doc says Ken Norton Sr. versus Joe Frazier. Who wins? I'm gonna go with Smoking Joe. Although Joe isn't the puncher or viewed as the puncher that George Foreman was, and I know Cooney caught Ken towards the end, but even with that said, though, man, Cooney, whether you want to say he was limited or not, the dude could crack. You know what I mean? He has some power. I thought it was being a little bit. Now do I think it was being a little bit overhyped? Yeah, but he could crack. The dude could punch. Um, and it seemed like Ken had a problem with anybody that can punch. Now Joe, like I said, wasn't viewed as a big puncher. Is those guys were being hyped up as, or had power like those guys, but he could chop you the fuck down. You know what I mean? And put a lot of pressure on you. And I think the pressure, just the relentless attack, the body work, Joe crouching, you know how not Joe, but Ken had that type of style with his arms up, you know what I mean, trying to evade shots, but bending, he would have been bending down into uppercuts. He would have been right in Foreman's wheelhouse as far as uppercuts, body work. I think he would have got him on the ropes, and I think he would have stopped Ken late round. I mean, not late, but mid rounds. So I'm going with Joe mid rounds. And when I read Joe's autobiography, um, he said that he used to whoop. Now this according to him. He said he used to whoop Ken Norton's ass in sparring all the time. That's according to Joe. Let me pull out my iPad. Let me try to find the name of that book. Um, see if I can find it real quick. The name of that book is let me see. I read the book about shit, man, about 7, 8 years ago. Smoking Joe, the autobiography. It was written by Phil Berger. That's the one that I read. All right, and in that book, Joe said he used to whoop his ass in sparring all the time. Blood says Joe dodged a lot of bullets, didn't fight Lau, Norton, Young, Shavers, and more. Yeah, he did miss out on a lot of guys, man. Shavers have been an interesting fight. Um, yeah, it just seemed like Joe was just hung up with, because then he fought Foreman again. That's another fight that a lot of fans don't know even that I know you know, Blood, but a lot of fans don't even realize that he fought Foreman again. You know what I mean? It's kind of weird that people don't even know that. They don't even know. And he came to that fight. Remember, he had the bald head. You know what I mean? But yeah, he actually fought George again. Man has some pride, man. That's pride, boy. I tell you, because a lot of guys after getting destroyed like that wouldn't even go near a ring with the guy that beat him like that. So Frazier had a lot of pride, man. But yeah, there were some fights that he did not get involved in. Another fight, shit. Even Blood, if you want to add Holmes to that list, you know what I mean? A lot of people wasn't really willing to just jump in there with Holmes. I mean, well, Shavers and Norton, guys like that. But everybody wasn't just willing to just jump in there with him either in the late 70s. Yeah, I definitely agree. Joe didn't fight them all, you know what I mean? But when he was champ, you knew who the champ was, though. I will put it like that. But in that late 70s, mid 70s, yeah, he didn't fight every single opponent that he could have fought. Um, but I think after that Foreman loss, he kind of pick and choose what he wanted to do. Now he had some really good fights with Ali, you know what I mean? And again, like I said, he fought Foreman again, but I thought he kind of picking and choosing after. You know, it almost seems like fighters they get to a point in their career, man, where they start picking and choosing. They really do. Sometimes it's when they become champion, which is unfortunate for us fans, and sometimes I believe it's after if they have been champions after they lose their belts. You know what I mean? Like once that name hits the marquee, you know what I'm saying, and their name is first. Uh, some fighters can fall into picking and choosing. That's why a guy like Ali, that's why I think he's the greatest. He never really fell into that. Even when he was out of it, he was losing his speech, slurring his speech. He was still chasing after guys like Larry Holmes. Ali had no business being in the ring with Larry. He had no business being in the ring with anybody. The dude could barely jump rope during the training camps, and his speech was all fucked up. He couldn't get through a riddle. You know how Ali liked to rhyme and riddle and crack jokes and uh, card tricks, and you know what Ali used to do in his camps, and he just wasn't the same man. Damn fighter, he just wasn't the same person. You know what I mean? And but some people can blame it on his team putting him in there with those guys, but I really, that was Ali. You know, that was Ali, and shit. Ali did damn near shit. He did fight everybody. Blood says Holmes would have KO'd Joe. Hmm. KO'd his son. He KO'd his son. We can't say that, but I don't know, Blood. I don't know, man. I mean, I guess what year you talking about? But shit, man, Holmes has some dog in him that people don't give him credit for, man. Holmes, I know he wasn't a big, huge puncher, man, but Holmes was not big on just letting you off the hook type guy. You know what I mean? If he had to outbox you and stick and move, and he knew that that was the way just to win that fight, cool. But if he had you hurt, or if he was buzzing you, or backing you up, or it was easy for him to land right hands, he would just keep doing this shit. Holmes has some dog in him, and it showed later in his career, right? Just when I was talking about the Mercer fight, he showed dog in that fight. Haplotype, what's the business, man? Blood says late 70s to early 80s. Possibly. I can see that. Because it's not like Larry would have had to go looking for Frazier in the ring. Frazier would have came right to him, bobbing and weaving, and probably getting caught with a lot of unanswered shots. Probably didn't have enough mustard in them late 70s, early 80s to uh, come over the top with hooks. He just that style has the shelf life of that style that he fights in. When guys fighting that style, especially at heavyweight, you burn out. You don't get to go 2 decades deep. You know what I mean? Fighting that type of style, man. The short guy that wants to throw a whole bunch of punches that backs you up, that has a high motor. Ugh, that style get very tiring, man, on those guys. So those guys tend to burn out faster at the top. Um, that's why I'm a. That's why the bigger heavyweights seem to age a little bit better. Now, age is age, right? So I'm not saying that they get better, but when they start the age, you don't see it, or their weaknesses can't be exploited as quick as guys that fight like Tyson and Frazier and stuff like that, because big guys can rely on jabs, tying you up. Big, whatever their power shots are, the power's the last thing to go. But when you're a short, small, attacking ambush type fighter, shouts out to Dwyer, I believe he's the first one I heard say ambush, but a guy that wants to just collapse on you and get right in your chest, shit like that. Um, it's hard to keep that up, man. It's just hard to keep that type of style up. That style is more suited for you when you're in your prime. Um, the bigger heavyweights, like I said, can rely on jabs and things like that to get them through. You know what I mean? Um, I actually heard Anthony Joshua say this, and it made a lot of sense. He said that a right hand, what did he say? A right hand can get you around the block, but a great jab can get you around the world or some shit like that. One of the few philosophical things that I've heard AJ say that I agree with. But yeah, I totally agree with that, man. A great jab. Learn how to jab. That's why always these big dudes learn how to jab, man. Get a jab in your arsenal before anything else. Jab. Learn how to jab. You can win a fucking whole round off jabs. I don't think boxing fans or fighters even be knowing that shit. You can actually win a whole round off a jab. Why not have that in your toolkit? That's why fans talk about the young kid Daniel Dubois, and I'm looking. I'm like, man, develop that jab. Everybody talking about power, 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 power. What about a jab? Power is great, but you can set up that power with a jab sometime. Everything don't have to be to knock your head off, and set some things up with a jab, man. Find them openings with a jab. Create openings with a jab. The best tool you can have, from my point of view. But hey, man, what do I really know? I'm just a guy watching the fights, man. Mr. Doc says Blood versus Jumbo Cummings. Yeah, man. Old Frazier had to fight with Cummings, man, and I guess he knew it was a wrap. He tried to put his time and energy into his kid, man, and Morris was a good amateur. He was a solid amateur, man, but he just maybe he should have fought at cruiser. Maybe would have had a better time there, but he definitely couldn't cut it at heavyweight, man. Just like I say, the kid was a good amateur, man. He was a good, solid amateur, man. But kind of hard to fill those shoes of his father, man. Didn't if I'm not mistaken, didn't isn't that one of the reasons why the WBC fell out with Larry because he wanted to fight Marvis and they wasn't gonna sanction a fight or something like that? Or I know one of y'all, Mr. Doc of Blood, or somebody to tell me, maybe St. Cruzan, but I believe that's they had a falling out. And it's like, damn, man, this dude been a reigning champion for a while, man. Like, let him just have his one fight. You know what I mean? I forgot who they actually wanted him to fight. Then I know he wanted. Then that's when he wanted to just decide to be the IBF's champion. I forget exactly. Let me see if y'all leave it in the comments. Hop says that's why you like Larry Holmes so much, Mr. Boxing. Great jab. One of the reasons why I liked him so much. Another reason is Larry was the type of champion, man, that he would go looking under a rock for a competition. He gave guys an undefeated chances. Um, he had heart. He can get up. When he got knocked down, he didn't get rattled. He would get up. He would fight when he had to. If the jab wasn't working, now I'm not saying the jab would just win you everything, but to have it though is a great tool. But yeah, him having a great jab is one of the reasons why I did like Larry Holmes. Apex Ridner says Parker versus Klitschko next. I seen an interview with Klitschko. He was saying never say never or whatever. I think Klitschko, man, he did what he could do. He had a great run. He made some history, but him and Parker right now, shit, I'll probably favor Parker in that fight. I could see Parker outpointing him right now. Blood says, I remember he was supposed to fight Tate in '84. Yeah, then that's when oh shit, let me see. Because I know Tate, he lost his title to Weaver, and then Weaver had the strap, and then Weaver got upset by Dokes, right? He got upset by Dokes. They ended up fighting again. And I remember Holmes was ringside of the first Dokes fight because he was saying how inactive of a champion Weaver was. Um, I gotta go back down memory lane. Memory lane. Didn't who gave Tillis his shot when he was undefeated? Um, Lawrence Williams was good, man. He says, "What's good in your opinion? What was Vladimir's best win?" Hop, I'm gonna get back to that, Lawrence. Hop says Tate sure did a number on Dwayne Bobbick. Dwayne Bobbick, he from Minnesota. If you didn't know, Dwayne Bobbick was a good amateur. He beat Larry Holmes in the Olympic trials. He put them hands on Larry, man. I think Larry got, what did Larry get disqualified for holding? Man, go listen to the commentary on that, man. Howard Cosell was just shitting all over the young, skinny Larry Holmes, man. It's funny how Holmes' career turned out from the way that uh, Cosell was talking about him in that fight with Bobbick. Bobbick was a guy that got us, I think he got up to like 41-0 or some shit like that, right? Then he ended up getting drilled by Ken Norton. You know what I'm saying? But Bobbick and Scott Ledoux, when they fought, uh, they put up some numbers here, man. They fought, I believe they fought where the old Metrodome was, when the, or not the Metrodome, but where the Vikings used to play, and where they used to play that site right now. Have you guys heard of the Mall of America? The big, I don't know if it's still the biggest mall of America, if it's still the biggest mall in America right now, but I know when they built it back then, it was. I don't keep track of that shit, but anyways, and out in Bloomington, um, that's where they had their fight at, and they brought like I don't know 20,000 or some shit people there to see the fight, 15,000, whatever it was. It was a big, it was a huge number of people out there. Um, but anyways, then they moved the Vikings to the Metrodome, and then now they fight at not fight, but now the Vikings play in that new stadium they got out there, state of the art stadium. But yeah, Dwayne Bobbick, man, I remember Dwayne Bobbick. Mr. Doc says Ali and Cosell were doing the commentary. Yep, so Mr. Doc remembers that. Hop says Bobbick even beat Teofilo Stevenson in the amateurs, and I think Stevenson beat Bobbick as well. Um, I know Stevenson lost to the Russian dude. Fuck, what's that dude's name? I was gonna fuck with me. Then the Russian dude, I believe Dokes beat the Russian cat. What's that damn dude? I did a video about the dude too. His name escapes me right now, man. I hate when this shit happens. As soon as I get off, I'm gonna remember the dude's name. Maybe one of y'all leave it in the damn comments. Damn, what was that cat's name, man? Ah, that's gonna fuck with me. I forgot the dude's name, man. Blood says you got. He said, Mr. Boxing, you got some knowledgeable guys in your chat. Hell yeah, man. Let me get back to Lawrence Williams, who another old guy that respects the history. Um, you asked me about Vladimir. What I think is his best win. Hmm. I think just on the fly, without doing too much thought about it, I would say his most. Now, I know you're saying his best, but I think his most important win. I want to say the Peter fight because Peter was looked at as who next? Who next? He was looked at as this big, huge power puncher, and fans kill me, man. Like there was fans. I remember when Peter had his little thing going, and he can hit harder than Tyson, and it was just getting crazy. I remember just seeing little. Now it wasn't as big as. I mean, it wasn't. I'm not saying everybody was saying it, but just some little chat rooms I was in, and people just going overboard with Samuel Peter. But I thought that was important because it was like a make or break. This is somebody that did have some power that we looked at that could knock his ass out. It was on HBO. Um, and we wanted to see did Klitschko have anything left. You know what I mean? We wanted to see what did he have left. Uh, so I thought it was very important for him to win that fight, man. And he got knocked down. Some of them looked like they were kind of throwdowns, but I thought I thought that was a very important win for his career. Um, Mentally, for him to beat Lehman Brewster, although I know Brewster had like some injuries and shit like that prior to their fight, things of that nature. But I thought that was another important win for him mentally to get past that hurdle. Um, Hard to say, bro. It's hard to say. It's hard to say. David Hay, because I look at shit like when the fans and media start to turn on you and like, oh, we found somebody for your ass now. We found somebody, and I know a lot of people thought David Hay was the guy. Now we look at the betting odds; they had Klitschko as the favorite and things like that. But I remember being on social media and people, oh, he's fast, he's awkward, his quickness, he has power in both hands, and just hyping, just hyping Hay just out of this world, man. And Klitschko went in there and did what he had to do. David Hay started blaming his toe and all that other shit. So he had some important wins where I thought that whether he was the favorite on paper or not, I thought his back was against the wall because of what some media and what a lot of fans were thinking going into those fights. Um, but I don't know, man. That's a great question, yo. That's a great question. I don't have his resume pulled up in front of me. I do like one thing I will say about Klitschko, man, is he started giving these undefeated guys chances and a crack at the title. Definitely appreciate that. It brings me to the when you start giving undefeated guys crack at titles, man, you got to commend that because he could have easily took the route of, no, I'm just going to keep recycling fights, keep recycling contenders, and giving them shots. So when he started giving Pulev and even a guy like Tyson Fury and Brian Jennings and Pianata and I believe Povetkin was undefeated. Hay had one loss. I think he had one loss. One loss when he fought him. But then to come back and want to fight AJ and you know what I mean, things like that. So I give him props for that. Um, Kind of like what Holmes did when he was fighting undefeated guys, uh, giving them shots, Bay and Snipes and uh, Spoon or Tim Witherspoon and um, who else am I forgetting? I know I'm forgetting somebody, man. But you guys get what I'm saying, though, man. So that kind of put me in the mindset of Larry Holmes because Holmes started to do that shit. Spinks, he fought Spinks. Even when he came back, he fought Tyson. So these older guys, not even just when they're old, but just giving undefeated guys a shot at the crown. You know what I mean? Not waiting to guys lose a fight or get knocked out, but actually going in there just giving them a shot while they're undefeated. Let me see what y'all talking about. Uh, a lot of damn questions. I see y'all chopping it up with each other. Lawrence, let me see. God of War says the Povetkin Vlad fight was really dirty. Yes, it was, and um, it was really dirty. But it did have some through that dirt though. It did have some diamonds in it. And what I mean by that is, Klitschko was busting him up, man. He was landing some good left hooks, some good uppercuts that was buzzing Povetkin, like buzzing him. But then he'll dirty it up by just grabbing him right away. He'll throw a good shot, then grab. And it was like, damn, man, he wasn't even letting his given a chance for his good shots, you know what I mean? A chance to breathe, like to admire the work. He was just buzzing them, grabbing them, buzzing them, grabbing them. Sometimes just coming in, grabbing them. Yes, it was some dirty, it was some mauling in there. But I don't think Povetkin did enough to go to the body to try to fight his way out of the clinches. And people sometimes have the mindset of, hey, he grabbed him. Well, hey, it's the other guy's job to not fucking get grabbed. Look at a guy like Evander Holyfield. He would push you off. Evander would push motherfuckers off. Like when Mercer was trying to get close and maul him. No, Evander was pushing his ass off. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you gotta push and go to that body and fight back, man. You just can't allow yourself to be held. And you got might say, oh, but he's bigger. Okay, well, that's for you to figure out. You know what I'm saying here? Tyson Fury, I know Tyson Fury is a bigger guy. Anthony Joshua's a bigger guy, but shit, they figured it out as far as not being held by Klitschko and not falling into or when they did get grabbed, they kind of controlled the clinch against him. In my when I looked at it, but Povetkin was kind of falling into these clinches and just stand there. You know what I mean? Sometimes, man, it's you have to figure that shit out. You can't just look at the ref and say, "Hey, he's grabbing." Yeah, he is grabbing, but throw your hands, man. Go to the body, punch him in his nuts one time. Just what I mean, do something. Step on his foot, something. If you have to foul, not foul to get disqualified, but just do something to say, hey, you're not going to grab me tonight, man. Whether the ref helps me or not. Sometimes a fighter has to take it upon himself to say, not tonight. I know it's easier said than done, but you got to figure it out sometimes, man. Whether that's fair or not. Joseph Scott says, Mr. Boxing, I was watching Tua versus Ike. What a fight. Hell yeah. They threw a lot of punches that fight, too. Hop says, 1971 Pan American Games, Bobbitt beat Stevenson. Yeah, Bobbitt was a really good amateur, man. He was a good amateur. Apex Renner says, Mr. Boxing, do you think Parker and Joshua fought again? It would be different if the referees let them fight on the inside. Because when they started to mix it up, that ref jumped in as if that shit was illegal. I mean, he jumped in like somebody got hit with a low blow. He's like, oh no, he didn't want them to have nothing to do with the inside fight. And then I thought the fight would get really interesting. If he lets them fight inside, yes, the fight will be different. It depends on the referee and what he allows. Blood says, Bobbitt was a solid fighter, bro. I wish Stevenson came over here. You mean as far as turning pro? Because remember back, was it after the 70s? Was after the 76 games, Blood, where they were offering Stevenson, I think like $3 million or some shit, or some crazy dollar amount for back then to fight Ali. And I know that Savon, after the 96 games in Atlanta, they offered him, Don King was trying to offer him money to fight Tyson. I really wish those two would have turned pro. 92, there was a dude named Roberto Bellato who I did a video about. He was a very small heavyweight, though. I'm not sure how he would have fared. But that dude moved like a damn middleweight, man. Um, he moved like a damn middleweight. I did a video on him. He ended up dying at a young age. I believe it was a car crash. I would have loved to see him pro. But only a few of their best have turned pro. So Solis was looked at as one of their best guys that they had. He turned pro. A lot of injuries and him not being in shape. Luis Ortiz turned pro. Gonzalez back in the day, who was a really good amateur, who actually beat, if I'm not mistaken, he beat Bo and Lennox in the amateurs. Gonzalez did. I know he beat Bo in the amateurs. Then they fought as pros, but see what else y'all talking about. Man, I was only gonna come on here for 30 minutes, y'all, and this hour and 40 minutes then went by. St. Cruising says, hate froze. Yes, he did, man. I ain't see no quickness, no awkwardness, no punching from every angle, no power in both hands. I saw none of that shit that was being hyped up before the fight, man. I know he possessed it, but he did not bring it on fight night at all. Mr. Doc says Chavallo versus Tiafalo would have been very interesting, in my opinion. What you think, Bud? Talking to Bud about it. That would have been a good one. Chavallo, good chin. Stevenson, a little rangy. Man, if he just would have turned pro and just fought him off the rip, I'd probably favor Chavallo. If he just fought him off the rip. Yeah, and I see Blood here says Chavallo chin was made of iron. Yeah, if he fought him off the rip, yo, just turning pro and just fighting him, I'd probably pick Chavallo to win that one. Chavallo, he was the Canadian heavyweight champion, right? Hop says, since we're mentioning the big names in the 70 heavyweight area, I'm going to throw in tough as nails, Ron Lyle. Terrible at covering up, terrible, but still, what a man in the ring. Yeah, man. Uh, what can you say about Ron, man? He served a prison stint. You know, he had the classic fights with Ali and uh, obviously the Foreman fights, and he was a man's man. You know what I mean? That dude came to bang, man. He was a solid puncher. He kind of puts me in the mindset of like the '70s version of kind of like how Ray Mercer was almost to some degree. Just tough dudes that can punch, not really known for like being like crazy knockout artists, but guys who I consider strong punchers. That's how Evander would be. I describe Evander too as a strong puncher, if that makes sense. Not necessarily a, you look at him like a Mike Tyson or Foreman or Shavers, but he was a strong puncher, a guy where if he lands 3, 4 on you, your legs probably gonna start doing a little dance. You know what I mean? St. Cruden says, Blood, you're needed here. See y'all chopping it up. Yeah, we all chopping it up, man. This is what I love about coming on YouTube is talking about the old school stuff. I know some fans get thrown off. I don't get a lot of viewers when I get to talking about this shit, but I don't care if it's just 10 of us, man. Then it's 10 motherfuckers who I know appreciate the history and we can go back and forth. You know what I mean? I ain't knocking any of the popular headlines of right now or anything like that, but I like talking old school shit, yo. So I appreciate Mr. Doc, Lawrence Williams, Blood, Hop, Haplotype, St. Cruz, and everybody that's in here right now, man. I'll scroll up and see who's all in here right now. Let me see. Gaines PP says, I didn't get the notification that you went live, Mr. Boxing today. Yeah, I know YouTube be tripping sometimes, man. YouTube be tripping sometimes. And sometimes they send them out, sometimes they don't. Maybe because I had I don't know why they do that shit. It is what it is, yo. The people that should be here are here. You know what I mean? Probably throwing a few more people though, but I like talking about these topics, man, because the shit already happened. We can kind of reminisce on what happened. Some other things we would have liked to seen happen. Uh, I don't know, man. I just got a respect for that old school, man. What I want to do is go live with my pop, because me and him, we talk about the fights. I want y'all to hear his opinion about Joshua Wilder. He gonna have y'all cracking up, man. He definitely gonna have y'all cracking up. But I want to go live with him one of these days, um, so y'all get his opinion, so y'all can hear his opinion about the fight game. I've been meaning to get around to it, but me and him we'll talk. 'Cause we talked the other day, like we'll talk, and then we'll be talking about something else, like my kids, shit like that. We'll be talking about life, just family stuff, and then it'll turn into boxing, and then we'll talk for like an hour about boxing. Then I'm like, damn, I should have recorded some of that shit. You know what I mean? I just always forget, man. But we have some damn good discussions. All right, man. So let me see if y'all here. All right, damn, I still got people here. All right, my phone died, y'all. I just plugged it back in. I'm gonna go ahead and end this, man. I'm gonna let this phone charge up, man. But chop it a little bit more, a little bit later, man. I appreciate everybody. Usually don't get a lot of listeners when I get to talking about the old school shit. Nobody wants to hear that. They want to hear about what's going on 5 minutes ago and things like that. So I definitely appreciate y'all tuning in, man. We'll chop it up again. All right, y'all be easy, man. I'm gone.